All right, we'll go ahead and call the Monday, February 23rd, 2026 City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond,
Here.
Councilmember Susanis,
Here.
Councilmember Jennings,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Present.
Mayor Kantor.
Present. All right, I'll join all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll take a motion to approve the agenda, and whoever makes the motion, I appreciate it. Pull out the January 26th City Council regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written with the correct edit to pull out the meeting minutes from the January 26, 2026 City Council regular meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just
Real good. Go ahead.
Just for a point of clarification, you're requesting that that item be removed from the consent agenda, not removed from the agenda?
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll amend my motion to remove the, from the consent agenda, the approval of the January 26, 2026 City Council regular meeting minutes.
Any discussion?
Not on that motion, but on the agenda itself. I was surprised that, did we remove a opportunity for public response at the beginning of, ahead of the agenda?
It's item 7.
Yeah, item 7.
So there's still 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Was that?
Who seconded it?
I
Kelly.
did.
Kelly, okay.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Councilmember Susanis,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings, Mayor
Yes.
Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond.
Yes.
Again, brought to my attention, while you're recording the meeting. It's got to be on a tripod. That's the rule. Thank you. Okay, so we have a couple of presentations. The first one is a proclamation celebrating February as Black History Month. So whereas during Black History Month, we honor the extraordinary contributions made by African Americans throughout the history of our republic, and we renew our commitment to liberty and justice for all. And whereas during Black History Month, we recognize the achievements of African Americans and their role in shaping history, along with the contributions that African Americans have made to enhance economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development of our country. And whereas Black History Month, we recognize the essential role of African Americans in shaping the story of America and honor their courage and contributions. And whereas the omission of much of the history and contributions of African Americans from textbooks and other literature has impeded awareness and appreciation. And whereas the celebration of Black History Month is a positive way of recognizing the culture and history of African Americans as vital to the core beliefs and values of this society. And whereas observing Black History Month provides opportunities to gain a deeper understanding of African American history and acknowledge the centuries of struggle for equality and freedom. Now therefore, the Lathrup Village City Council does hereby proclaim and declare the month of February as Black History Month in Lathrup Village, Michigan, and further encourages all individuals to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And along those lines, I just want to remind everyone that we do have the Black History panel coming up February 26th, this Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. The panel will consist of Jason Hoskins, Loretta LaRoche, who's in the audience, Maria Manarino Thompson, Ryan Noble, and Terrence Wheeler with musical guest of Jason Seawright. And also, personally, I want to recognize our black leaders, Jalen and Kelly, along with all of our existing former and current black staff and black board members. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next we have, doesn't look like they're here yet,
No, they are coming from a separate committee,
Right.
so we will have to push them down.
Right, so we'll just push them back. We have a presentation from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. All right, so we need a motion to convene as the,
I'll make a motion to convene as the zoning board of appeals.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
been moved and seconded. Joel? Yep, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis,
Yep.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Motion passes. We will open as the ZBA. And the first step of that will be a public hearing for 28919 Southfield Road for the off-street parking variance request.
Austin, if you want to briefly describe it?
Yes, let me pull up the report. So we have an applicant here tonight who is looking for a parking variance. They are looking to open up a coffee shop and pastry shop at 28919 Southfield Road. It is located in a shopping plaza that is on the east side of, or west side of Southfield Road, just south of 11 Mile or 12 Mile. And currently the site is built out. I'm going to show an overhead view of it here. You can see the parcel, the building is on two parcels. The building that we're looking at is this one here. This is one plaza. It has 4 off-street parking on, oh, it's not up yet. So here are the 2 parcels that the plaza is on. The parcel, this first one, has 4 off-street parking behind the building. This building here, where the unit we're looking at, which is right here, is there's no on-site parking. The parking standards require that the applicant have at least 17 off-street parking spots, but due to on-site constraints and the property, the building's location, there's no additional on-site that can be provided. I reached out to the property owner across the street, who is located where Olga's and Jersey Mike's is located, because the ordinance allows for any parking within 500 feet to the applicant to enter into a shared parking agreement. I reached out to him. I did not get a response back if there was any available parking. I did my own analysis of the current units and with our parking ordinance and how stringent it is. It would, they would require nearly all of those parking spaces that are in this parking lot. So there are no available parking spots within 500 feet for them to enter into a shared parking agreement with. You can see in the chart here are the 5 tenants that occupy the plaza. The first one is a pizza shop. They are completely carry-out. There's no dine-in, and resident people come and pick up their orders. Talking with the property owner, the customers mainly park in the county right-of-way, where there are 18 parking spots, and 28 in a city-owned lot, and 4 behind. The parking in the county right-of-way cannot be counted towards any of the uses or any occupants. The city-owned parking lot, it's the end of Roseland Boulevard. It was vacated, and it was turned into a parking lot in the early 2000s. None of those parking spots can be used towards the count as well. This is that building where the pizza restaurant is on a separate parcel. There are 4 spots behind there. The unit, or the part of the building where the unit is located, there's no parking behind it, but people do park in the alleyway. The unit next to the pizza shop has been vacant for over a decade. In talking with the property owner, it sounds like that could be due to the parking and the stringentness of the ordinance. The third use in that plaza would be the proposed cafe. They said they're primarily takeout. This is their second location. They have one currently on Joseph Campo and Hamtramck. And speaking with him about how much of theirs is carry-in, takeout, and or dine-in and takeout, he said about 80% is takeout, and usually it's Uber Eats or DoorDash, and he expects the same. The next is a retail. It's the largest out of all the units. Talking with the business owner, they primarily come, park in the county right away, buy what they need to go get, and leave. There's not much on-site time spent. And the final is a professional office building, or professional office. It's a therapy center. I spoke with some of the employees there. They said that on a daily basis, it could range from 2 to 4 employees. They park in the city parking lot, and currently their clients come via van that they own. There's a van service that picks them up. So the van may take up one spot in the county right of way. So the uses here, in talking with the property owner, which they're welcome to come up if they would like to answer any questions. The applicant, unfortunately, due to breaking a fast, today is Ramadan, they were not able to join. But the applicant said that they're going to primarily be takeout. The other issue with the site plan that I told Planning Commission was the delivery area. There is no designated delivery and drop-off area. The business has been operating in that manner, the building's been operating in that manner for decades now. Talking with the property owner, they lease to only takeout restaurants, don't lease to anybody who has like a sit-down. But due to the parking ordinance, we have to treat these restaurants like Jagged Fork. There is a carry-out aspect to the ordinance, but still it is very stringent. So due to on-site conditions and the nature of the business, the applicant has asked for a variance to the parking ordinance. Section 5.1315 allows for the governing body to consider alternative parking calculations. And based on the 41 parking spots surrounding the plaza, believe that it's an adequate amount to satisfy the uses that are currently in the plaza. But that is up to you guys to decide if a variance should be provided. Speaking with the property owner, it sounds like this is a real detriment to them being able to actually lease out their units. So there's 2 empty vacant units that they cannot fill, and with on-site conditions, they can't satisfy any additional parking spaces. In talking with Planning Commission, they saw that with it being takeout, that it wouldn't be overly burdensome on any of the neighboring businesses. But that's for you to decide, and I'm here for any questions.
And the site plan's been approved conditionally upon this.
Yep, the site plan was approved last Tuesday at Planning Commission, contingent on a variance being granted by the CBA today.
All right, is there a motion?
I thought this was the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
public hearing. Yeah. So if anybody would like to speak related to the variance request at 28919 Southfield Road, please step forward to the mic and you'll have 3 minutes.
Can I ask a question first? Is this separate to the normal speaking to items on the agenda?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
this is a public hearing.
Well, Diane Anderson, and I simply can't oppose this more strongly. Let me tell you what this place was when it was built. It was, the end was a barber shop, then there was Pete's Market, then there was a little dry cleaners, and then the pizza place was Rue's Pharmacy. It was a small area, it wasn't a shopping plaza, it had very limited parking because there was no need for people to be coming and going. And that was important when it was built, because of course 12 Mile and Southfield is a really, really dangerous intersection. It can be very hard getting in and out of that place at the best of times. Every time I went to what was once Rue's, now Papa's Pizza, when it was the computer place, you almost take your life in your own hands sometimes getting in and out. It is absolutely inappropriate to bring in another restaurant. When we were an upper middle class bedroom community, there were no restaurants except for the Colonial Dining Room that had no houses around it. But I won't get into the inappropriateness of this particular business, simply to say that a place that was developed with a specific purpose, very small businesses, very little traffic coming and going, and back then, it wasn't nearly as dangerous an intersection because they didn't expand Southfield Road until 1962-63. Until then, it was only 2 lanes. And when you only have 2 lanes, you don't have to worry quite as much about the traffic flow. So I'll talk later on about the kind of utterly inappropriate development that's going on and simply point out that from a traffic safety point of view and from this notion that takeout is what you want to keep bringing into the place, bringing more strangers in, as opposed to the kind of businesses we used to have. The ideal, for example, was the bank on the corner of 12 and Southfield. That's what you have in the upper middle class bedroom community. Open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, closed at night, closed on the weekend. That's the kind of things that Lathrup was built for, not to turn into a working class strip mall. And of all the inappropriate development that has taken place in the last decade along Southfield Road, this is the absolute most inappropriate. It cannot deal with the amount of traffic you want coming in and out safely. You're putting people at risk, and you're putting the community as whole as a risk. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I do have a small comment about this issue, Jonathan Terra. And I brought this up before, I think at Planning Commission. This particular property is one where there are multiple curb cuts between the front parking that's on the right-of-way and Southfield. And I notice a lot, it's a huge traffic hazard because you've got two streets and you've got, I don't know how many curb cuts between the two streets. And you've got the pizza vehicles waiting to, you know, take off with a pizza. And they're sitting there ready to get out in the traffic. So you get like 4 places where people are going out into traffic. I don't know if it's permissible or if there's some issue with the fact that it's a county right-of-way, but I don't know if you can do in one end and out the other with angle parking there in the front. But if we can start discouraging all these extra curb cuts, I think it would be helpful.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, and now I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve an off-street parking variance request for 28919 Southfield Road.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just to make sure that I heard this correctly, the Planning Commission already approved it, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
There was no discussion, though, at that meeting by the Planning Commission about safety. There was discussion about use, and I think, you know, the use case for Lathrup has changed dramatically in the last 65 years. But there was no discussion of safety. It is increased traffic. I don't think it's going to be, you know, I think they did talk about busy periods. Although interestingly, just for those of you that didn't see, this cafe doesn't anticipate normal sort of early morning heavy traffic. It's more of a dessert and late night place, which is the same time the pizza place is busy. So potentially, actually, there is going to be an increase of traffic at different times of the day. I feel like that plus the subject that Jonathan brought up just now begs for a more holistic approach to parking in Lathrup Village, and also, and you had mentioned in our study session that you were considering that. I wonder if you could give us any kind of timeline or thought that you had in terms of the DDA's and the Planning Commission's look at that subject.
The parking ordinance?
The parking ordinance in particular, because I do think these questions are legitimate.
Oh, I completely agree, and it's something that's ongoing, and we would like to see sometime this year, just to have something presented and discussed as we go through the master plan update and as we work with Recast City for the next 10 months when it comes to different methods we can look at to bring in additional businesses and keep our commercial buildings occupied. I think parking is definitely going to be discussed. I already brought it up to Alana Cruz, and she said there was a consultant we could use at no cost who is a national consultant who works with communities across the country on parking and how to find the right sizing of it, because we don't want to have an overly burdensome ordinance that discourages development or puts people in situations where they can lease out their building, yet they are being asked to pay taxes, while also not completely getting rid of it, where there's at least an abundant source. So that is something that, now that we've gotten a few other ordinances that City Council passed over to Plan Commission to review and get through, I think this is a top priority.
Is there a way to get some do not enter signs? Because I feel like sometimes people are entering that parking lot the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. People do, and off what you said, John, the angle parking, having it one way would make things much clearer. In the capital improvement plan for this year that you guys will be reviewing in the coming month or two, the DDA is put in there a wayfinding sign for the public parking lot. So hopefully we can divert people to the city-owned parking lot that has 20 parking spaces and keep them out of the county right-of-way.
Yeah, just a question for you, Scott. I mean, obviously, safety is important, but is that a consideration when you're determining a parking variance?
Yeah, that's actually more of a consideration for the planning commission
Right.
in the site plan approval process. Traffic flow and parking or traffic impacts, safety concerns related to traffic. Those are the purview of the site review process as opposed to the zoning board of appeals. The zoning board of appeals is granting relief, specific requested relief. Sorry, the echo here is throwing me off a little bit. But the purview of the zoning board of appeals is to either approve or deny the specifically requested relief as it pertains to the ordinance in question. So the other considerations, while valid, are more appropriate for them, would have been more appropriate for the body.
And still could be a future conversation. It could be addressed via traffic control order or other ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something that came to mind, will we have to worry about the business owners fighting over parking spots once we kind of approve this? Because I feel like, when you go to Jagged Fork, if you park across the street, there's like a security guard saying you can't park here. Like, do we
I
foresee
think
running
with the
into that?
nature of the businesses, with them being primarily carry-out, there's not people staying on site for long periods of time. They're coming, getting what they need, and then leaving. And currently, there is very adequate parking in that area. I've very rarely seen the city-owned lot used, let alone full, and also the county right-of-way. It can get full, but not all, not 100%. And this business it's going to have a smaller impact. So I think having a wayfinding sign that directs people into the city parking lot, in addition with the other businesses being primarily takeout, it's going to have very limited effect on parking in that area of the city.
Mhm. So they're not allowed to put up any signs that says this is for Papa's Pizza or this is for the dairy or whatever.
Dairy to beer.
Yeah, I would say for specifically that lot, no, because they don't have
I
parking
mean-
spaces. Actually, Papa's Pizza is technically its own parcel, but it also only has the 4 spots behind. The county right-of-way would be county, so the county's not going to want you to put up your own signs on their
I
property.
understand. You
Yeah,
just
I'm
never
not sure
know.
if it's enforceable or not, yeah.
Yeah. I just-
And also, the building was built prior to our current parking standards. So, and whenever there is any ordinance in zoning, it's never going to completely be perfect for every parcel in the city. And this is one of those situations where if Rosa Boulevard were to be there, we could have had parking in the encroachment license in the city right-of-way, but it was vacated 2 decades ago. But it resulted in ample parking with a city parking lot. So it was, it's something that it may not be privately owned, but it is open to those businesses in that district.
Okay.
Austin, can you really quickly speak to the rental history that you brought up at the DDA meeting?
Yeah.
For this parcel?
Looking into it and speaking with the property owner, the unit has been vacant for a number of years, and the unit next to it, between Papa's and it, has been vacant for over a decade. And they've tried renting it out. They thought a few times they've had somebody, but they haven't. And it seemed like a big part of that is businesses worried that they would never get a site plan through because of the strict parking ordinance. And as I was just saying, with any ordinance, there's got to be some type of relief when it doesn't conform to every parcel in the city. And this is kind of one of those situations where the only avenue for relief is coming here to the zoning board of appeals.
Well, we talked in the study session about how these variances connected to the parcel, right? The property itself, not the business.
Yes.
But I wonder if, like exempting this specific parcel, this address in that whole building from parking requirements 100% is appropriate. Like, they're gonna be using parking. Yeah, I know we're talking about directing parking to the city-owned lot on the south side of the building, which doesn't belong to the property and therefore can't be utilized to, as part of the meeting the 17 space requirement, right?
Well, because originally when I was looking at this situation, I was like, all right, there's 4 on site. But then it came to my attention that actually this plaza is built over 2 parcels, and you have to treat each parcel as its own. So the parcel that the unit is located on is completely built out. The only way to add additional parking would be either to turn the back alleyway into parallel parking or to tear down part of the building to put a parking lot. There's no space to build additional parking. And it is, I agree, any request that is zoning board of appeals, I served on the Ferndale zoning board of appeals for over 7 years, 100% ask would be eye-opening, but then we have to look at the situation in each situation, and this is a very unique one, where the property owner has not been able to get revenue from a commercial property, yet they're being asked to pay city taxes, and part of the issue why they cannot get a tenant is because of the city's zoning ordinance.
So I wonder about the precedent, though, like if there are other parcels in the business districts that have similar parking constraints, that have similar issues trying to rent their properties because of the parking constraints, and if this sets a precedent, that would then open up the door to those property owners wanting to come in and request variances from the city from the parking lot.
No, that's a great concern, and part of that would be the change of use. So if there was a change of use, that would bring a different intensity of parking, and that would require a site plan review at Planning Commission, and at that situation is where it would be reviewed further and looked into. But because there is no relief here, where we looked at a shared parking agreement with a lot across the street, and looked like there was any availability, there was no other parking spots within 500 feet that could have been leased in a shared parking agreement, and there's no on-site space to build additional parking. But it is surrounded by 41 parking spots that are available at any time of day.
It kind of goes back to the fact that looks like they're gonna reassess the parking requirements as well.
Sure, but we got to deal with what's on the table today.
Right.
So I don't even want to think about what the future might hold. But you mentioned during your introduction, like there's 2 parcels, or 2 components of this building that have been vacant. This is intended business to occupy one of them. But it's been a challenge to lease it out because of concerns about getting site plan approval because of the parking restrictions.
Yes.
So my question was about, are there other parcels in the city that have similar situation where
I would have to believe so, yeah.
the owners are trying to rent out the properties, and because of parking restriction concerns, potential occupants are bypassing them?
Yeah, I'd say from the city hall perspective, like also saying, I don't know if anyone necessarily needs 100%, but one of the biggest concerns we hear naturally is parking, why we keep talking about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another property owner looking for tenants who might need 50, 60, 80%. This one just happens to be unique where it is in the commercial corridor where it is truly small parcel, 100% built out.
It does bring up a question, though. The other parcel that's not being rented,
Other unit.
the other unit, right, sorry. Would this variance apply to that as well?
No, it would not. They would also have to come and ask for a
Okay.
variance.
Okay.
It would just be for this
Just to
unit.
clarify again, that this variance, I mean, I may ask Kelly to remake or restate her motion to specify that it would be specific to this unit for a restaurant use classification. So,
Okay.
And it would for 17 parking spots.
So say what you want me to say.
The variance would be for 28919 Southfield Road for a restaurant, change of use to a restaurant. And would be relief.
I don't think it's, you have cafe, but we need to say restaurant, right?
Yeah, that's what is stated in the zoning ordinance.
Request for 28919 Southfield Road, change for,
It'd be to approve change of use.
no, it would be to grant a
I'm going
variance.
too far into it, yeah.
100% variance from this required ordinance of 17 parking spaces, the ordinance requirement of 17 parking spaces, specific for the use as a restaurant.
You're not gonna mess that up. Oh, I didn't even see that. Okay. So I would like to amend my last motion and motion to approve. I move to approve the request for a variance from section 5.13 of the City of Lathrup Village zoning ordinance to permit the establishment of a cafe at 28919 Southfield Road without providing the required 17 off-street parking spaces, representing a 100% variance from the minimum parking requirement. What is that in here?
And I will still second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Keep going up.
So let's say we approve this variance and we open up a can of worms, and now we create a huge parking and vehicle traffic issue at that property. Then what recourse do we have to work with the property owner to try and find a solution to the problem that we just created?
That's something that we could engage with the property owner on, and if there's a nuisance because of the parking, then I believe Planning Commission could then take a look at it further. But right now,
It would be a difficult
yeah.
problem to overcome, because you're granting them, basically you're giving them a free pass from the requirements of the ordinance. And so if you're going to try to hold them to the, accountable under the parking ordinance, the defense that will be thrown back in our face is, well, you granted us a variance from your ordinance. Even if the ordinance changes, they are exempt from, this parcel will be exempt as long as it's utilized as a restaurant, whether it's this cafe or McDonald's fits in that space. Although that would be different because that's a carry-out restaurant, but if it's a restaurant, they will be exempt from the parking requirement.
Yeah, so this is my concern, is that it's the unknown, right? There are no, I don't think that the property owner can provide us an assurance that this variance wouldn't create a parking and safety and vehicle flow
I mean, that
challenge.
is one of the standards. You don't want to create a public health, safety, or welfare issue. So, though that is one, to your earlier question, but that, while the parking traffic impact study is not a purview of this body, but if granting a variance creates or potentially would create a threat to public safety, health, or welfare, then that would be a basis. That's one of the factors to consider in making your fact
And
finding.
that's why I asked the question in the study session about what happens if there's a change of use, because right now, the way everything is, I mean, personally, I'm comfortable because I could walk by there almost every day, and I've never even seen that, the non-conforming parking spaces ever even half full. But if there's a change of use, then that gives us the ability to readdress
Yeah,
this.
so if they were to
like,
switch
go
to retail or
Right.
go to some other classification, or if there's, a future amendment to the parking ordinance which creates a new category of business use, then that would, that variance wouldn't necessarily apply to that.
Right.
And just in terms of nuisance, Austin, you were contending that one of the reasons we should do this is because with the public lot, again, you can't count this, but there is a public lot right there, and then there's these other right-of-way spots that we also can't count. But there would appear to be adequate available parking for this use, and so we wouldn't anticipate the kind of traffic jams that you might assume if all those spaces were actually being used.
Yes, and you look at other restaurants, and it's a really broad classification our zoning ordinance has. So there is a difference between carry-out and sit-down, so Jagged Fork compared to Papa's. But because they're going to have two tables in there where there's a small little seating area, there could be people who sit there for a period of time. But talking with the business owner, his current operation, there's 80% that come, pick up their order and go, or it's ordered on DoorDash or Uber Eats. The driver comes, parks, goes in, grabs it, and leaves. So there's very little on-site actual time spent, and so the parking spots are not occupied for a lengthy period of time.
But you're asking for 100% variance, so it doesn't even matter the difference between the two restaurants.
Yeah, and the
because-
reason it's 100% is because if there was property for them to build parking spaces on, we could have them add additional parking, or if there was a piece of property that the city had authority over, where we could give an encroachment license, they could come and ask for that. So instead of asking for 100%, they could have got some in an encroachment parking. They may have been able to get 5, So they only would have came and asked for a 12 parking spot
Right.
variance. But because there's absolutely no space for any of these spots to be built out, it has to be 100.
And the back wasn't feasible?
No, you can actually see back here, there are employees who are parking back here,
Mhm.
but there are bollards right here, so you can't actually go through.
Okay.
So the only parking behind the building are these 4 that are on the parcel to the south.
Just out of curiosity, can a shared parking agreement be in a different city?
Our ordinance doesn't recognize or differentiate, but I would think that it would make sense it would have to be in Lathrup. You know, it is within 500 feet, so I don't know if the property owner reached out to the business to the south, inquired about a shared parking there. I just want to make one point real quick. I know Austin is just kind of presenting his report and his findings, but I just want it to be clear that the city is not taking the city staff administration is not taking a position, should not be advocating one way or another for this body. He's simply providing his report.
These are just the conditions currently.
So I didn't want to get too far into appearance that
I
maybe
put
we were
words
advocating
in
for it,
his
so.
mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
Good clarification.
Anything else? Okay, roll call, please.
Okay, Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes, the variance is approved.
I'll make the motion to close the zoning board of appeals and reconvene as the city council.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded, any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
All right. Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor.
Yes.
Mayor Cantor, before we go into public comment, MEDC is here, so if
Okay.
you want to knock that out, then we can move.
Okay, so let's have the MEDC come in and make the presentation.
Oh, Tom Hurtis.
You can do it here, or we see.
Oh, okay. I can see. Hello, hi, sorry. Thank you guys for holding time for us.
Hello.
My name is Stephanie Pena. I'm a senior planner at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. I'm here tonight with my teammates from the regional team. So I have Dominic Romano, a senior community development manager, and Jennifer Tucker behind me, a senior redevelopment services director. So we're here tonight to commemorate and celebrate the city of Lathrup Village's regaining of their RRC certified designation. RRC, as many of you are familiar, is Redevelopment Ready Communities. It is a voluntary technical assistance initiative across the state administered through the MEDC to support municipalities in streamlining and modernizing their planning, zoning, and economic development best practices. So thankfully and excitingly, the city of Lathrup Village was actually the 5th community in the state to attain this designation. We are currently up to 89 communities that now hold that. So we're very excited to help the community regain that status and go forward and continuing to support the community's initiatives towards priority redevelopment projects, catalyzing those projects and looking at how to support more vibrant economies and more vibrant built environments within the community. So success within RRC can be measured in a multitude of ways. Beyond even just attaining the designation, there is a plethora of process improvements that happen through deployment of our RRC best practices. So we have a toolkit of a variety of different best practices. So success can be measured in documenting actual standard operating procedures to ensure that development practices are consistent across the city. We're also looking at how do you update and modernize development review practices to ensure that everybody from developers, investors, down to residents fully understand and are aware of the regulations and the expectations, and ultimately cut the red tape to help development occur more rapidly within your community. So when we're looking at redevelopment efforts within a community like Lathrup Village, we're looking at supporting the vision that you guys want to see. So MEDC leans heavily on our local partners, such as local EDOs and local municipalities, to help support whatever vision that may be. So we follow very closely and have had tremendous partners in Austin and Tom, and are really grateful to continue working with them as we help the city think through how they want to activate Southfield corridor, promote greater placemaking, promote more pedestrian-oriented access ways, and think about how to make it a vibrant community that is plentiful for the residents. So we're really looking forward to the next 5 years of this designation status, and we'll work closely with the community. There's plenty of resources through my team, as well as through Jennifer Tucker's team, that we had a wonderful wonderful time exploring the city today, actually, and presenting those opportunities to city staff. So looking forward to continuing those efforts, and really looking forward to the master planning process that's going on currently. And we're always happy to support initiatives like this, and we definitely will see more exciting investments in the future. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I know the RRC award is bolted up to a wall somewhere, so we have this as a placeholder, but would love an opportunity. I think the city staff. Did you want to say anything? Sorry.
I just want to let everyone know that this was an effort because the city had the certification for a number of years, and then during COVID, unfortunately, with everything going on at that time, the certification was lost. So when I interviewed for my position, this was a top priority that Mike set for us. And then Tom really ran with it. He really got excited about it, and he said he wasn't leaving us until he got us our certification.
Wait a minute, does that mean he's leaving us now?
No. He's got to stay with us for Recast City, so we get him for 10 more months.
stuck with me for 10 months.
But this is a great designation, and it shows also to all the hard work before that I got here that Susie and those before us who put in place. And it was a real great effort working with Stephanie. I can't thank her enough. I got to get to know her when I first worked in Hamtramck, and now to work with her here and be successful in getting the RRC certification. It's just fantastic. And Stephanie, do you mind just telling them a little bit about the grants we have access to and funding that we have for visioning and for renderings?
Yeah, totally. So there's actually a couple interesting buckets. So from my team, the Redevelopment Ready Communities Initiative, the city, through engagement, has had access to technical assistance grant funding, and that is our dollars, and to be quite honest, the only dollars statewide for planning and zoning efforts to help communities align with our RRC best practices, which is a total of 5 best practices. So the city has leveraged it in the past. Actually, no, there might have been pre-2020. We updated our records. But through that funding, we were able to award the city with $28,000 for the master plan process that's undergoing right now. Going forward, starting from the designation period of January 2026, the city is in a 5-year designation period, and during this period, the city has access to $50,000 now over that period of time. And these are dollars that can be used more creatively, again, towards efforts of trying to support more pedestrian-oriented, mixed-use development styles that increases the density along your areas of concentrated development, so Southfield or maybe another area that you guys want to focus on. So that those dollars, for example, the city, Oak Park used it for like a market analysis for 11 Mile for senior housing. Other communities have used it for gateway signage planning. Communities can think about placemaking toolkits or zoning ordinance updates, things that really have heavy lifts. And then additionally, with Jennifer Tucker, the city now officially having re-access to her, there's a certain amount of dollars that are put aside for catalyzing party redevelopment sites. And then additionally, sort of tertiary, the city now has access to apply to the Match on Main funding source, which is through our small business side of MEDC. It's a very competitive, very exciting tool to help fund small businesses scale up within your community. So that is something that is opening March 1st that the city staff is fully aware of, but those are the 3 different potential funding sources that you guys will continue to have access to, and all pending budget availability across the state.
Is the Match on Main the crowdsourcing one that we talked about?
No,
or
that's
completely
a,
separate?
yep, that's
Can
a
you tell us
sep-
about that? Because I want
Yeah.
Mike to hear that.
Yeah, totally. So what the mayor's referring to is, it's called Public Spaces, Community Places. It's one of the tools within the community development side of the house, under which Senior Community Development Manager Dominic Romano is sort of the liaison for the city to the MEDC to navigate. So any community, regardless of RRC engagement, can have access to this tool. And the tool is essentially built on, if everybody's familiar with crowdfunding, it's sort of like the GoFundMe, but it's a GoFundMe for cities. So there's a 1-for-1 match up to $50,000 or $75,000 for a project to activate a public space within your community. The amount that you get access to increases if you're able to incorporate universal design and make it ADA compliant. So we're thinking about, in the past, communities have done farmers markets, park activations, outdoor like amphitheaters, like things that bring people and activate the public realm. And this one is a really cool one because it's something that you could get input from the public and have like a co-ideation, but also facilitate their sort of investment in it as well. And it's something that a community can pursue multiple times, as willing as the public is wanting to do it, because you have to be cognizant of donor fatigue and whatnot. But it's a great tool.
We were thinking maybe for the park, to help with our $100,000 that we had to come up with, that might be an idea to pursue.
Yes, totally. And Dominic is always happy to answer questions on that. We also have like great websites and resources. Also, any of us ask us and we'll make sure to direct you. Anything not related to like downtowns too, we can always direct you to our business development managers or other people across the state. Yeah.
Okay, anyone have
Wonderful.
any questions? I just want to thank Tom and Austin again for all your hard work to make this happen, and we're looking forward to working with MEDC on some of these things in the future.
Yes,
Thank you
us
so
as well.
much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Would you guys mind taking a photo so we can do our press release tomorrow?
That would be
That's
great.
okay?
Excuse me.
Let's come out there, or? Yeah.
Just for my notes. Like that? Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Just wait. It's gonna be worse. I was saying that would be
It's coming in?
Okay, at this point, we will open up the floor for public comments. Any residents who wish to address the council about items specifically on the agenda, we'll have 3 minutes to do so. So I'm going to step forward to the mic.
So I'm glad we're certified for something else. We're also certified for a couple other things. Our police department has a very impressive certification, and we are a tree city. I do not see how a tree city can discontinue chipper service. I'll keep it short.
Anyone else?
I just want to say how appalled I am at what I've seen about the treatment of the Lathrup Village Women's Club and other community groups. Lathrup, when it was an upper middle class bedroom community, had a lot of vital community organizations. We had the youth club, we had the Lions Club, we had the women's club, the supper club, the garden club. We had a real historical society, not a private club that's anti-preservation masquerading as a historical society like now. We had a drama club. Anyway, the list goes on and on and on. And there has been virtually no attempt to actually keep these organizations going. And meanwhile, the one organization that has persevered, the Women's Club, is being treated like any other group, any new group, anyone that hasn't contributed. In 1973, the Women's Club raised $40,000 to get this building built. They were the driving force behind this building. In today's money, that equates to $327,866 that club contributed to making this building a possibility. The notion that you have to look after them, monitor them, the custodial problems. The few times that the Women's Club uses that big room, they are meticulous in looking after it. And the whole point of a community center is you treat community organizations as that, a vital part of the community. That room gets rented out for weddings and parties, and I've been in the building doing the showcase and all, and I have seen what happens when those groups are there. They come upstairs, they used to go through the women's club locker upstairs and so forth. You need real monitoring when you have outside groups coming in, because you put that barrier up to the stairs, they go right under it, they couldn't care less. But when you are talking about people who are vital to this community and treating them in this way, telling them they've got to give you a guarantee, a deposit, and so forth, it is absolutely insulting to the heritage of this city and to the hard work that these women do.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close public comment. Move on to the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion for, to accept the consent agenda with the removal of January 26, City Council regular meeting.
Been moved and seconded? I'm sorry, can I?
I will
sorry.
second it.
Yeah, it's moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett.
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved. I pulled the 126 meeting minutes. I noticed in there, Councilman Hammond was at the meeting, but on most of the votes, his vote was not recorded. So I was hoping we could get that fixed,
Yes.
so it's recorded properly. Scott, would we save that for the next meeting to approve it, once it's corrected, because it was in a bunch of places? I mean, technically, aren't we supposed to do it now?
I mean, if we knew what his vote was on those and we could
Right.
put it into the record tonight, but because we're gonna have to look at it again to make sure, I would say just put it on next month's consent agenda as well.
Okay, do we need to table it, or?
No.
No, okay.
Well, there's also, just to say this specific one, so I think that it's not all of them, there's specific ones that Councilman Hammond's not
Right, there
recorded
were-
on.
there were like 4 or
And
5,
I
I
think
think.
that, yeah, and I think that it should be specified on which ones.
Specified now on which ones? or
Probably
you
so,
would-
so they know which one.
If you can identify and
Yeah.
address them now, then there's no need to continue
Sure,
until next
I can
month.
look at them right now.
Yeah,
So
or-
is 9A request to adopt a special assessment roll resolution?
And we have to go back. I'm actually left off the vote for 2, which is a roll call for motion to excuse Mayor Kantor. I voted yes on that, but I'm not listed there. Approval of agenda.
You're the one that made the motion.
Yeah, I still have to vote on
Oh,
it.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I thought that too at first,
Okay,
but-
sorry.
The approval of the agenda, item 4. I voted yes on that. The approval of the consent agenda, item 7. I voted yes on that. And item 9A, which is the request to adopt special assessment rule resolution 2026-01. I voted yes on that. And 9B, request to approve resolution 2026-02. I voted yes on that. And 9C, request to approve resolution 2026-03. I voted yes on that. I'm on 9D already. 9F, request to approve Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant boundary map. I voted yes on that. I'm on 9G,
You're on that.
and I think that that's it.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the 2026 minutes?
I make the motion to approve January 26 minutes
With the corrections.
with the corrections.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Susanis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes. We'll now move on to our first action request of the evening, which is on page 123 of the packet. Request to approve the site plan extension for 27700 Southfield Road.
Thank you, Mayor. Planning Commission granted approval for site plans submitted for 27700 Southfield Road on April 15th, 2025. Construction has not commenced within that time frame. The ordinance, zoning ordinance states that if construction has not commenced within 12 months of final approval, if construction has not been completed within 12 months after commencement, site plan approval becomes null and void, and new application for site plan review is required. The ordinance further provides City Council, after recommendation from Planning Commission, to grant an extension of up to 12 months upon request from the applicant. During last Tuesday's Planning Commission meeting, the applicant submitted their request, and it was approved for your consideration. The ordinance also states that the concept of the development concept, site layout, and circulation and building reuse, the conditions must remain stable, they cannot change. No ordinance changes can occur, and if the site plan is within the zoning ordinance and is still compliant, it can be extended. So the applicant has asked for a 12-month extension to their site plan. During that time, they have been working with the Michigan State Housing Development Authority for gap funding. They were asked to do a market analysis. They provided to the state. The state was required to do their market analysis. So the applicant has been moving the project forward. It's just been taking time with the state regarding the final financing for the project.
Okay. And did you want to say anything, add anything? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move to grant the applicant a 12-month extension of the site plan approved on April 15, 2025 for the adaptive reuse of the former school building located at 27700 Southfield Road, as the approved plan continues to represent current site conditions and remains consistent with the zoning ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a couple thoughts. Just, if you look at when they thought it was going to be approved, it was October, and now they're suggesting that they are in the front of the line and they should hear by May, which is 1 month outside of that thing, but they're also supposed to break ground, which takes several months after approval, after they find the financing. So my thought is, it's basically an 8 months variance between when they thought they'd be approved and when they now say they'll be approved. And I'd suggest that we consider anyways giving them an 8-month extension, because this also has impact on when they then have to break ground and when they then have to come back for another extension if they haven't finished building it. You know, we know they're going to come back for that, but this, I think it's in our interest to just keep, you know, that going as fast forward as we can, and 8 months seems to me fair. The other question I have for them, or for us, I guess, is the assumption that the financing will be found and approved in May. It sounds fairly confident, but if it's not, if they don't find financing, what happens to that extension? What's happening with that site plan at that point if they get turned down? And so again, 8 months extension, I feel, you know, that gives them time to regroup and come back to us. 12 months seems excessive. That's my thought on that.
Okay, well, I don't know. I like the idea of a 12-month extension because they are subject to MISHDA, and it's through no fault of their own that that they have to wait for, you know, for the gap financing and the results of NISTA, and they could end up delaying, and it could add another month or two onto the, or three onto the process, and then they're just gonna have to come back again. We know they're gonna have to come back because the project itself is gonna take longer than a year to build, and that's gonna require them to come back to extend the site plan, but, you know, and to your point, I mean, if MISTA turns them down, then they still have time to find financing from another source. I just think we're, by shortening that time period, it's just gonna potentially bring them back again to have an extension, when I think we could just give them a year extension. That's my thought.
Yeah, and I think, what additional information would they have after 8 months, right? That would result in something different happening after an 8-month request, you know, exemption, extension expires versus a 12-month extension. Like, what happens in those 4 months that we would be concerned about? I understand the intention to try and provide an incentive to continue to move the project forward, but I think that they've demonstrated that they have every intention of moving the project forward. I don't see them dragging their heels. It's the sources of funding that they're going to that are causing the delays. That's my perspective.
Okay. I mean, I guess my thought is the first one, which is, you know, what are the levers that we have? And one of them is review. And by saying, hey, you've experienced an 8-month delay through no fault of your own, and you expect fully to hear an answer in May, which would then, you know, put you 8 months behind at that point, allows us to continue to have the levers that we have as a public body. I'm not insinuating ill will or bad will or anything. I just like to keep our ability to review as current as possible. That was my thinking.
Yeah, so I ask again, like, what do we need to review 4 months sooner?
Well, I think, you know, breaking ground. If breaking ground doesn't happen, like, that's something that we're concerned about, right? I mean, yet we won't have any opportunity really until May of next year to look at that. So that's my thought. And not assuming bad intent or ill will. I'm just saying that's our ability. Those are the tools we have. So that's my thinking on it. And yeah, no, that's it. I already said the other stuff.
Anything else? Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis,
It sounds like we don't have, so yeah, I'll vote yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor.
Yes. Okay, the extension has been granted. We'll move on to the next item, which is a request to amend the zoning ordinance, which is on page 128 of your packet.
I don't see Tom in here, so I can handle this one, Mr. Mayor. So this actually came from Councilmember Hammond's neighbor, who brought up a concern about the recently adopted solar and battery energy system ordinance. So Planning Commission did take a look at this. They made a recommendation that these amendments be approved. In summary, the amendments include defining that this ordinance is only applicable to permanently mounted solar or battery energy storage systems. So that does not include things like portable battery-powered generators or electric vehicles, or anything that could be removed from the home, and phone bricks and stuff like that, or larger battery bricks. Additionally, it consolidates. There was some confusion under the originally adopted version with respect to the location where battery energy storage systems, the actual battery units, could be stored. The preference under the current version of the ordinance is that they be located in an accessory structure in the rear yard. And the language is that if that is not feasible, then it can be considered to be on the interior of an exterior wall of a garage. So what this amendment does is it just removes that contingency. So it allows that these battery energy storage systems can be installed in either an accessory structure in the rear yard, exterior wall, the interior portion of an exterior wall of a garage, or as a standalone exterior unit in the rear yard. And it also specifies that they cannot be in a basement or a crawl space. Is that everything, Tom?
Yeah, it was the language around feasibility, like it was very difficult to measure, like, well, when is it feasible or not feasible? in
It
order
gave
to-
the building official a lot of subjective input on
Yeah.
what feasible meant, so.
Yeah. So this just removes that altogether, and now it's very clear what you were allowed to do.
Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-01, an ordinance to amend the City of Lathrup Village Ordinance, Article 5, to amend Section 5.17.3, general provisions, adding Section 6, applicability of battery energy storage systems, BESS regulations, and to amend Section 5.17.4, permitted systems, subsections 4, 5, and 6 into one subsection.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Suzanis?
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett?
Yes.
Mayor Kantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Okay, the ordinance amendment is passed. We'll move on to item C in the agenda on page 138, which is a request to approve a resolution for the contract for paving Rainbow Circle and those improvements.
Thank you, Mayor. So as council is aware, we did receive the MDOT Category B grant for Rainbow Circle. Working our way through our process with this, one of the first steps is actually approving the contract with MDOT before they'll review our bids, and then those will come back in the future. Essentially, the contract just outlines the rules and regulations for MDOT and defines the cost share, which we're aware of, which is $250,000, 50%, whichever is less.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-05, approving the Rainbow Circle MDOT Category B contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett?
Yes.
Mayor Kantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis?
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
The contract is approved. We'll move on to item D on page 153 of your packet, which is a request to approve the Resilience Assessment and Emergency Response Plan.
Thank you, Mayor. So as part of the 2018 America's Water Infrastructure Act, cities of our size and larger cities are required to adopt these risk and resilience assessment and emergency response plans every 5 years. The city's initial plan was adopted in 2021, so we're at our timeline to review them and update them. The city works with HRC for stormwater, and HRC is also the one who did these initial reports. HRC works with a lot of our SOCRRA partners, especially the smaller communities, and they're going to be handling a lot of these updates for everyone else as well. So we're looking to approve HRC to handle these updates for us. There is different timing, response time for submitting these reports. So the total cost will be split over 2 fiscal years, with the RRA due before the end of June 30, 2026, and the ERP due end of the calendar year. We do have budgeted funds for this portion for this year, and then we will just have to include it in next year's budget.
Your motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the HRC engineering proposal for the AWIA Risk and Resilience Assessment and Emergency Response Plan for is this the right one? Cost not to exceed $15,700.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett?
Yes.
Mayor Kantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond?
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis?
Yes.
It's been approved. Moving on to item E, page 159 of your packet. Request to approve the community room roof replacement project.
Thank you, Mayor. So as far as the FY26 budget, the city originally allocated $25,000 to address the leaking roof for the community room. After having several contractors come out, we realized substantial more work needed to take place in order to address the roof, including a great deal of HVAC work. So earlier this year, council approved hiring Detroit Roof Inspection Services to essentially serve as the city engineer for this project, as this is what they specialize in. Over the past few months, they were able to finalize the review, put that together bid docs, have an on-site meeting with potential contractors, and then we did open bids. We did have good response, 7 bids, and we do have a recommended low bidder for this, which would be Butcher and Butcher. They would handle the actual membrane replacement, and then we'd like to utilize Denny's for the actual HVAC. And we're not getting any new HVAC, it'd be just taking the current equipment off, setting it down, putting correct venting and stilts on the roof on top of the new membrane, and then putting the old HVAC back up. We did finally hear back from Denny's today. Their quote would be about 8% higher than what's in your packet, so it'd be roughly like now about $35,000, $36,000 instead of the 32. The current units up there are at or have already exceeded their useful life. They're all over 15 years old, so they're hanging on. As for replacement of them, they're thinking they didn't want to necessarily give us a price right now, but I think I shared with you guys our Hoskins grant. We did request about $250,000 to replace 3 of them. They said that was in the ballpark, but it does get more expensive if you just do one at a time. So if we're going to do it, it would be recommended to do all 4 at once, because it is probably 25, 30 grand just to get a crane that size out here to do the work. But this would just actually maintenance for the roof and get us by.
Okay, so the Denny's piece then is up from 32.7 to...
Yeah, to about 36.
36, okay. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Butcher and Butcher for the community room roof membrane replacement project for an estimated cost of $52,938, and Denny's Heating and Cooling for the community room roof RTU reinstall for a cost not to exceed $36,000.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Can we just review again the effect on the general fund, because we're going to obviously be paying the overage out of that.
Yeah, so most likely, this will require a budget amendment once we get to it. And it really depends on when the work happens, when it's going to hit our account. As I mentioned in the memo, this type of project really only has 2 windows every single year that can happen, because there's a chance the HVAC system's off for a week or 2, and we can't do that in that heat of the summer. So if we are lucky enough to get on everyone's schedule and get the materials and ready to go, and we can do this mid-March, we'll require a budget amendment at the end of the year, and then most likely fund balance dollars will have to be used to cover this cost.
So just to be clear, so the $25,000 that we budgeted this year, we've already taken almost $6,000 out for that for the consultant.
Yep.
And then we'd still have about $19,000 left to put towards this, so we're talking roughly about $70,000
Yes.
on a budget amendment. Okay, and if we or is the consultant, have they checked references from
They
Butcher
have.
and Butcher?
Yeah,
and-
they have, and they feel comfortable making the recommendation.
And this work really needs to happen, I mean, to just prevent continued water damage to the community room, right?
Correct.
If we don't do this, it's going to continue to go into disrepair
Correct.
and get worse. This will at least maintain status quo from a water damage perspective in the community room.
Yeah, and we double checked the life expectancy. If a new membrane roof for this building will last 20 to 25 years. So.
Is it warranted, or?
Some of it is, yeah. The membrane itself is, the HVAC work, since we're just putting the same equipment
Right.
back, naturally that is, but there's warranty work on the membrane. And one of the things DRIS did confirm, naturally, it's actually on the material, it's not on the company to do the work. So if Butcher and Butcher gets bought out or goes out of business, you actually get the warranty from the actual manufacturer of the membrane.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor.
Yes. The roof replacement project is approved. So next we will move on to item F on page 174 of the packet, which is a request to approve the cured-in-place pipe sewer rehab project.
Thank you, Mayor. So after completing some dead-end manhole installations this past summer, the city is ready to move forward to the next phase of our project. As part of our budget, we did include $120,000 to do some cured-in-place pipe sewer rehabilitation in conjunction with these newly installed manholes. Giffords Webster designed our RFP and put it out for bids. DVM Utilities was the low bidder for this project. They've done work in the city before. And they're coming in at about $98,000 for this project. So we got about 1,900 lineal feet of sewer that we're gonna do. For those that don't know, that cured in place pipe, you're essentially taking an old pipe that could be broken or misaligned. They essentially put a tube in there, put epoxy in there, it seals and essentially becomes a brand new pipe inside of an old pipe. These things are very well received and they should last a very, very long time.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve DVM Utilities Incorporated for the 2026 Cured in Place Pipe Sewer Rehabilitation Project for an estimated cost of $97,740.75 and authorize the city administrator to execute all necessary documents.
Second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? So Mike, I just have one question. There are no locations listed in here, so is it just based on a number of linear feet, and then we?
So when we did the manhole installations, that's how we got the rough lineal feet, because naturally we had to measure it from one manhole to the newly installed one. So that's pretty much our window we're going with. So that's where we're going with location. So we will be this summer. That's why, if we're lucky, it's going to happen in June this year. If not, it might get pushed to July. But we are going to, naturally, as most people know here in Lathrup Village, sewers run through a lot of people's backyards. So we're going to have to do a lot of coordinating over the next few months.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
How does this relate to the overall need? Like, what percentage of,
Oh, I'd have to double check, but
yeah,
luckily with sewers, they last a little bit longer than typical water mains, or at least best practice they can. I think this just puts a little dent into the overall problem. So this is one of those things where if you could do it every single year, you should. But you do want to be able to bite big chunks off at a time.
Yeah.
So the fact we're getting these new sewers with these manholes is key for this project.
Okay, this is something that the city has been doing this process for at least the
Couple
last 20
decades.
years.
Yeah.
Little bits at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was a budgeted expense out of water and sewer, so this doesn't come out of the general fund. Anything else? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis.
yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett.
Yes.
Okay, the Cured in Place Pipe project is approved, and we'll move on to item G in the agenda, which on page 184 of your packet, which is a request to approve ballistic shields for the Lathrup Village Police Department.
We got Chief Zen.
Good evening, City Council. Before you is a request to purchase ballistic shields. This was part of the capital improvement plan, which was budgeted for last year for $13,000. The Lathrup Village Police Department currently does not have any shields, ballistic shields capable of stopping any high-powered rifle rounds. Our vests currently now just stop your basic handgun rounds. And with the advent of new crime and active shooter situations that we're experiencing in this county alone, we want to equip our officers with a ballistic shield that's 11.5 pounds. It'll cover most of their body. Has no sight window or lights. It's nothing fancy, just to get us by with something that'll stop a high-powered rifle round. These are 3A shields. We got 3 quotes, one from Huron Valley Guns, Protect Sales, and Ray O'Haron. Our lowest bidder was $11,620 from Protect Sales.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of 4 Rapid Deploy Systems 3 Plus with Protect sales for a cost of $11,620.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just wanted to say thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Of course, thank you.
And I also want to just mention that this is a budgeted expense. So.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett.
Yes.
Mayor Kantor.
Yes. The request to approve the ballistic shields is approved. We will move on to the next item, action item H, on page 186 of your packet, which is the approval of cancellation of curbside shipping services.
Thank you, Mayor. So as council's aware, the city's under drastic budget constraints in these upcoming fiscal years. So due to the need to prioritize some of our core municipal services, staff is recommending canceled shipping services. Over the past few months, we've had these discussions. We even started this with the Finance Review Committee. We've taken exploring outsourcing PD off the table. We've thrown the library to the vote of the people via the millage. This is really our next big ticket item before we start reducing staffing even more. As I've mentioned to you, part of next year's budget, we are not going to backfill one of the open patrol positions just because we have to balance the budget. So before I consider potentially removing more staff, I want to start trying to knock some of these off. Shipping is roughly $70,000 a year. We do have the ability to get out of the contract via SOCRRA. And as I mentioned in the memo, SOCRRA is also in their budget season as well, so they need to know how they're going to plan for this next year as well. So we'd like to make SOCRRA aware of our intentions sooner rather than later, and then that also helps us budget for this next year.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the cancellation of curbside chipping services from Fontenot Landscape Services LLC via the SOCRRA agreement effective June 30th, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Yeah, so when we have branches, that means that the resident would be responsible of getting their own shipping services?
Correct.
Okay, and then, well, that was redundant. Never mind. Now, what if it's the resident still would be responsible for getting their own shipping services, even if it's a city tree that falls on their property?
And that also includes the bundling of the 4-foot would go away as well, correct?
Yep, yeah, so yard waste is not impacted, so if people are able to pick up twigs or reduce their branches and fit them in yard waste bags, that still gets collected. But the curbside, putting them in bundles and the chipper comes through, that does not.
So what other options, other than just like hiring a chipping service yourself, could residents use? Like, is there a SOCRRA type facility that a resident could take limbs,
Yeah,
tree
we
limbs
can
to?
put that information on the website. I gotta figure out, I have to remember exactly what precise location it is, because in my head, it's not the Troy Murph.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can put that out there.
And if the council chose to, could we put together like a millage vote to raise funds specifically to cover the cost of yard waste, of chipping services in the future?
You could, essentially, it'd be kind of what we try to do this past ballot, where you up your refuse millage back to where it is approved to be. And that would potentially could cover
Because
the
the
cost.
refuse millage could be used for something like chipping
Yeah,
services.
the refuse millage has covered this in the past.
Yeah, and that was one of the examples that we gave in a lot of the town halls, is it's a classic example of how Hadley kills us, because, we have 3 mills dedicated for recycling and waste, but, the contracts keep going up and up, while the amount of revenue that we pull in to pay for it goes down and down. So eventually you reach a point, like we're at, and, I hate to get rid of this, but again, we 86 getting rid of the library, or at least put it out to the residents. We so haven't addressed any of the larger, or refused to eliminate some of the larger services, and this is the next one, as Mike said. So
This is one of the confusions of timing that I have with the library, and it's an accident of the calendar and the contracts that we have as much. But, if in fact we pass a millage for the library, then the budget that we're about to, create right now doesn't anticipate that one way or the other. Potentially would allow for something like chipping, to be in the budget. We don't know. So I guess, can we revisit this? Let's say that we approve this today, can we revisit it after the library millage, for instance? And this could be part of what we talk about at a town hall, but is that something that from a SOCRRA point of view could be like reinstated, whatever, on the fly a little bit?
I wouldn't say necessarily on the fly. Their contract kind of runs congruent with the waste and recycling contract. So this one technically expires June 30, 2026, but they have auto renewals, and this will get renewed by the board. No one at SOCRRA really has any issues with popping out right now. So if anything, it would probably be like this, where, hey, 5-6 months out, let SOCRRA know, can Fontenot fit us back in their schedule this next fiscal year if funding becomes available, and I could see Fontenot hopping right back on board with us.
Another question, we talked earlier in a study session about was there a possibility of having, say, monthly or quarterly chipping opportunities versus, having every week the guys come by, or whatever the schedule is right now?
I think we'd have to revisit that with SOCRRA when they bid out the document, because right now, Patna, as my understanding, they only want to take on weekly clients. So it could be something where SOCRRA's going to bid it out, hey, switch this to monthly, see what that is. But
So I have a question. So just say, for instance, we hold off of this. We don't do it, as what Councilman Susanna is saying. That means that it would be say we cancel it, that would be canceled on June 30th. We're not doing a election until November 2026. So what happens between June and November with branches?
people are on their own.
There's an Exhibit 2 of the contract. It lists the cost per week for each community. There's a line item for other communities. Can we be part of other communities?
That'd be our intent with SOCRRA. Really, this other community, the only time they're used, Patna just becomes your preferred vendor is during storms.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
imagining.
yeah,
Like some big storm happens and we need emergency service.
Yeah,
to cover
if there's a true like winter ice storm and branches are down everywhere, we'd be, the request is for SOCRRA to throw us in the other communities. So in an emergency type situation, we would send through. Not if people just call us on a random Monday and be like, hey, we want branches picked up. It'd have to be a true emergency.
Yeah, right. And
'Cause that-
you
'cause
would
as you
make that
notice, it's
you and your
45
staff would make that determination.
Yeah, because as you notice, other communities, it's $45
$45
per
for
15 minutes.
Yeah,
So
it's very
$180
expensive.
an hour. Yeah.
I get it. It's very, very expensive. So you would only use it in case of a true.
It might be better to pay your lawyer to come ship them out, he's cheaper.
Well, I'm
Do
sorry.
that. Is that included in your retainer?
We could open that.
So just to
Or your police
reiterate,
chief, he's got the equipment as well, so.
I guess I didn't quite understand the question. Do we have the opportunity to suggest fewer pickup dates or chipping dates as we negotiate? I mean,
If they go out for a new RFP, yes. I don't think modifying this current contract for our individual needs would work with Patna and SOCRRA. Because we're already asking them to modify it just to remove us, but to change everyone from weekly, and then you just got poor little Lathrup over here once a month or bi-monthly. Based on my conversations, it doesn't seem like Patna would be on board with that at this time.
so they'd rather have no money.
Or they'd rather go pick up a client
that would
that can do weekly or do another community more. So,
So to reiterate, as I was gonna say, storm comes through, blows down a city tree onto someone's property. They're responsible for it, even though it's a city's tree. Oh, our mature city trees. I just want to make sure you understand that they're mature.
That's a big expense.
Okay, is there anything else? Roll call, please.
There is one. We're voting on it today because, as opposed to say in March.
timing wise. So Fontenot needs to know sooner rather than later, so does SOCRRA for budget reasons. So, because all of the authority's budget and our budget, well, our budget more importantly, hangs on a decision like this, where SOCRRA just needs to know for logistically, because at the end of the day, they also have to use their attorney, go to Fontenot, and be like, we need to modify this. So there's a lot of back-end logistics that need to happen, in my opinion, now versus waiting a month or two. Because for me, from the budget perspective, every single recommendation for a budget coming from the manager's office includes removing this. That's the only way I can even get close to a balanced budget right
So you
now.
need to draw through all the options that you're going to give us. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Susannas,
I guess I'll vote yes. I guess I have to.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
No.
Mayor Kantor.
Yes. So the motion passes to cancel the curbside shipping services. We'll move on to page 192 in the packet, action item I, to approve the Downtown Development Authority appointment. And I'm recommending for the Downtown Development Authority for the 3 positions that we have available, Lisa Burr, Jeff Fitzrizik, and Charlotte Jones. Charlotte Jones is an existing DDA member, so for her it's a reappointment.
We want to do these one at a time, yeah? Or can we do them, there are only 3
There's only
positions?
three
positions
positions,
for-
3 applicants. I'm comfortable with one nomination for all 3 of them.
Okay. Make sure I've got it up. I'll make a motion to appoint Jeff Fitzrizik, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Lisa Burr and Charlotte Jones to the Downtown Development Authority for a term expiring February 1st, 2030.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, oh, go ahead.
These are the only applications we received?
Yeah, so we have 3 applications for 3 spots. Charlotte Jones is a business owner in the district. Jeff Fitzrizik is a business representative for Michigan First. And then Lisa Burr kind of is a dual role. She's both a resident and works for Michigan First.
Thank you.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Suzanis,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor.
Yes, so the 3 members are appointed. We'll move on to action item J on page 206 of the packet, which is a request to approve the Board of Review appointment. So the Board of Review is where tax assessment appeals are registered. It's a 3-person board, and we have 1 opening. I'm recommending Diane Damsky as the for that particular position. She has a strong financial background, and then also recommending Colin Walsh, who was the other applicant, as the backup for the Board of Review. Backup for the Board of Review. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to appoint Diane Damsky to the Board of Review and to appoint Colin Walsh as backup to the Board of Review for a term expiring on February 28th, 2029.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Suzanis,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Mayor Kantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond.
Yes.
Okay, the board appointments are approved. Move on to the city administrator report.
Nothing today, Mayor.
Then we'll go on to the city attorney report.
Nothing for me this evening.
Okay, boards and commissions, Downtown Development Authority, so that's me. Several things from a recent meeting. We did approve using the DDA intern for up to 4.5 hours of work on the Parks and Rec Committee. So that should help streamline things and take a little bit of pressure off of our Parks and Rec Committee. We approved the hanging flower baskets using the same vendor as last year, which is great because if you remember last year, the baskets were incredible. We approved Lathrup Village Music Festival performers, Wayne Gerard, who's a Lathrup Village resident, as well as Brendan Lindsley, who was recommended by Thornetta Davis, our headliner. We also talked about entering into a partner agreement with, or a partnership with the Lathrup Village Chamber and Oakland Thrive to develop an online presence workshop for the businesses. So some of you who may have been in our last meeting may have seen one of the businesses came to ask for our help because of the all the construction that's taken place and the loss of business, and they were not the only business who have reached out to us. So Oakland Thrive talked to that business and several other businesses and learned that a lot of them have no online presence at all, not even a Google profile. So one of the things that they want to, that we decided to do was to try to create a class to help them create a online profile, which will help somewhat, hopefully, during the next construction season that we have coming up this spring. The DDA also asks that all residents go out and take the master plan survey. We're in the process of updating the master plan, and there's a survey online that we'd like you to take. And then we saw earlier tonight the MEDC has renewed our redevelopment ready community certification, which should help us to fill some of the empty businesses, empty retail sites. And then also, I can't remember if I mentioned this last month or not, but we also were accepted into Recast Leaders, which is a 10-month program that specifically focuses on empty sites that we have and how to redevelop them to attract essentially makers. So organizations that will make things and sell them from that same site. So that was a free program. It's about $20,000 worth of consulting that we get from them. And so that's what we did at the DDA. So next is the Planning Commission.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I had to miss the last month's Planning Commission meeting because I was traveling for work. But we did elect officers. Austin, can you help me with who was elected?
Yes, Tim Hillman was elected as the chair, and Joe Robinson was the vice chair, and Jerry Ann Williamson is the secretary. She's the main secretary.
Jerry Ann Clark?
Jerry Ann Clark, sorry.
Great. We did, the Planning Commission recommended for approval the extension of the site plan approval for 27700 Southfield Road, and conditionally recommended, or did approve the site plan for 28919 Southfield Road, which was conditioned on the ZBA approval, which was received at this evening's council meeting. I believe we recommended approval of the capital improvement plan.
We reviewed it for the first time.
Just reviewed it. Initial review of the capital improvement plan for 2026. There was a discussion around potential revisions to the sign ordinance to help businesses that are impacted by construction projects that are going to be happening in the city in coming months. There was a public hearing around the solar and battery system ordinance revisions, which were approved by the City Council this evening, and a workshop on the master plan update specifically focused on housing goals and housing types.
Thank you. Next is the Parks and Rec, so that's me again. Food Truck Fridays will be back this spring, starting May 1st through September 18th. We are adding another crochet class that was very popular. Lauren Barris taught that, was sold out a couple months ago, so we're adding another one on March 7th from 10 to noon. We'll have another trivia night, so that'll be a Sporkle trivia night. That's the organization that does the trivia. That's going to be on March 20th. Another resident-led class by Lincoln Hill is a sourdough bread making class, and that was very well attended again, so there was a request for an additional class, so that's going to be on March 14th from 10 to 1. And then Breakfast with the Bunny will be back again this year on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So you can get more information on all of those via the e-newsletter, the city Facebook page, Parks and Rec page, or the city calendar. Also, the Parks and Rec committee is continuing to look at taking over the community garden and the children's garden. So as you probably are aware, the boards of those organizations step down. So the Parks and Rec committee is stepping up to try to take that on. And then the other thing that the Parks and Rec committee voted on in our last meeting was to take over the family fun zone at the Lathrup Village Music Festival. So the committee will be planning it and staffing it and taking that over. So that was all there. Tree committee?
The City of Lathrup Village was approved actually today to be part of the Tree City USA. We applied on October 19th, 2025.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, that's all.
School board?
Yeah, so Southfield Lathrop High School as well as University High School Academy, which is what it's known as right now, they will be doing a final farewell on Saturday, March 28th. So there will be alumni photos taken at 12:45 and 1:15. So this will be like the final chance to walk through the building before they do the transition to close it down and start on the new development.
You went there, right? Yeah.
You said it was at 12?
12:45. So
Oh, okay.
That's the photo, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, communication engagement, John?
Yeah, so communication engagement had its first meeting. Officers were elected. Robin Kinney to chair. Erica Alford will be our vice chair, and Kenita Doss is going to be the secretary. We adopted rules and procedures, and we set meeting dates for the second Tuesday of each month at 6 o'clock. So hopefully that'll be on the calendar and people can attend those meetings. We're looking for as much participation as you can imagine from the public as we both shape our mission and our action items. And you know, since our biggest priority is community engagement, we want a lot of engagement there. We did talk about the fact that we're at least initially an advisory committee as opposed to an action committee, and I think that's important for everyone to know. We also talked about, can we be an action committee sooner than later? All of the Parks and Rec, for instance, who both advise and also do a lot of things. And we talked about the core focus of the group is, you know, what does the city communicate? How does it reach people? And what impact does it have? In other words, are we effectively getting people to engage? And some of the things that came up were a real desire to have measurables and to start out by asking the city for any engagement data that we do have to provide that to the committee for review. So I think Mike's following up on that. And then our first sort of in-between meeting mission was to start surveying what's there, acquaint ourselves as a committee members with everything that's available in terms of city communications, and then have some discussion about that at our next meeting. The one thing I pointed out at the meeting that I would point out here is we're behind, right? It was our first meeting, but we're already behind. Communication and engagement both remain a huge issue for the city, and I think we have to figure out how to speed that up. And one of the suggestions that floated out there, we haven't acted on it yet, is do we also have study meetings in addition to our regular meetings? So I'm hoping that happens. So that was about what we covered in our first meeting. The next one will be in March.
All right, thanks, John. Back to you, Kelly, Chamber?
This Thursday, February 26th, we will be having a Black History Month discussion panel. It's going to be an evening of conversation, community, and culture. And you're going to hear from our state representative, Jason Hoskins, Terrence Wheeler, our own Loretta DeLoach, Ryan Noble, former Councilwoman Maria Manarino Thompson, and Dice Clay. Sorry, not Dice Clay. Not Clay. Not Clay. Dice Clark. And the moderator is going to be Fox 2, Josh Landon. And this is where you can share your voice, connect with others who care about honoring and advancing Black history.
Okay. Any unfinished or new business? Okay, then we will open it up to public comment. Again, speakers have 3 minutes, and you can step up to the microphone if you'd like to speak.
Jonathan Terra. I want to say how disappointed I am in the vote of council tonight on chipping surface. I didn't actually hear all of the responses, but thank you, Kelly. And that's another thing, I don't want to say a lot about it tonight because I will be participating in the audience of the Communications Committee, and I have some ideas that I'll be putting out there. I believe that the committee has some great communications professionals on it. So I'm sure those suggestions will be heard. Unlike most of what was said in this room tonight, which I did not hear. So I will go ahead. Since I have 3 minutes, I'm not going to use all of it, but I'm a technologist. I'm a software engineer. 20 years ago, we could have been seeing a transcript on that screen and everybody reading along instead of listening to echoes. So that's one of the things I'll be suggesting. YouTube has transcripts, by the way, which you can read when you watch these on YouTube, and those actually can be downloaded. And the city could publish that. Now, it's not an official record, it's not perfect. But again, I hope that we can, getting back to my first point, I hope we can look into alternatives. Maybe the badly named homeowners association, which is trying to reconstitute or get reestablished, maybe that's something they can do. We're talking $46 per month, or per year. $46 per year. When you do the math, 70,000 divided by 1,500. It is going to cost every person in this room way more than $46. And I'll just close with, I haven't expressed this up here before, but I am so disappointed in the voters of Lathrup Village for having turned down the millage increase, which is, as we play out the next few years here, every city in America is dealing with this. And we have to deal with reality, not wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Rick Wiz from Lathrup Boulevard. I can understand making residents responsible for chipping their own property. I don't understand how you can possibly make the residents responsible for a city tree that falls either on their property or on city property. If it's a city tree, it's a city tree. You're gonna find people, the city tree falls, I would bet anybody's gonna be moving that tree onto city property. So, that's it.
Thank you.
Well, I wasn't here in January. I was doing something for the DAR. So I just want to once again repeat how sad I think it is the failure of appropriate development on behalf of the Lathrup Village City Council. Giffords Webster has never uttered one word that I've heard that indicates they have a clue what a 1.5 square mile bedroom community is. And now the DDA and Giffords Webster act as if they're the de facto government of Lathrup. They set the agenda. Any old business they've got, you can make a buck, bring it on in. Well, it's the job of the City Council to work out what is appropriate development, the kind of things that Lathrup always had until the turn of the century that reflected a bedroom community. There's been no attempt to work with Preservation Michigan, and that's important because preservation increases property values. And there was so much wonderful mid-century modern along Southfield Road, and it is just being trashed. And that will impact property values. Worst of all is the school. Here we have this huge Northland development going up, the great big, 754 unit going up opposite the Southfield Civic Center. Nobody has ever proved that there is any need for more apartments. There's such a glut all over the place. And yet we're trashing the most important building in the history of Lathrup and creating a city where every child, present and future, will now be helicopter parented, and their cognitive and emotional development will be impaired by that lack of a proper parkland. We get parking exemptions for businesses who are calling the shots and making Southfield Road less safe for pedestrians, not more. We've got a lack of long-term support for our long-term community groups, as I've mentioned earlier. And nowhere do you see that as much as you made reference to the Homeowners Association used to produce these booklets. This last one from 2018-2019, I have these booklets going back to the 1960s. This one has 345 residences that didn't even care enough to participate. Yet there doesn't seem to be anything done to reignite that kind of spirit. We used to have a community where people did engage. It was upper middle class. We had people like Ray McDonald and Chuck Hepler, who were vice presidents of Fortune 500 companies living in Lathrup. And when you had those kind of people, you had real civic engagement. You can create that civic engagement again, but you have to have a strategy. And preservation is an excellent strategy for that to happen. If we'd had a viable historical society, which was taken over, as I've said, by now, 90% of Lathrup homes could be part of an historic district and most of Southfield Road. And think what that would be if you could advertise Lathrup as a historic community recognized by the state.
Thank you.
And just to the side, I want to thank the city clerk. She takes wonderful minutes. She at least acknowledges the presence of people like me, unlike Birmingham that doesn't even know you've been there. So well done.
Good evening, Timothy Holman, San Quentin. Southfield City Council commenced their meeting at 6 p.m. tonight. As of 8:30, public comment was ongoing. People are there to discuss the lease ICE signed at 11 Mile and Lasser, and plenty of people in that community have lots of concerns about it. I know personally that many people in this community share those concerns. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going on script now. On January 3rd, I emailed a letter to council drafted by me and my neighbor, Dr. Elaine Epstein, co-signed by a few dozen residents requesting clarification about local policing and ICE. I was satisfied with the city's response. However, that response is currently known only to me, Dr. Epstein, and the residents I've personally shared it with. That has not been communicated publicly. There's been discussion at council about what to do regarding ICE beyond performative measures. To date, the only concrete ideas I've heard discussed are the ones I've personally offered. So I'll briefly repeat them. First, issue a public statement, similar to those issued by Oak Park and Berkeley, clearly articulating the city's position on local policing and ICE. This is not performative. It is responsible governance. When residents are anxious, the answer is more information, not less. Clear communication reduces fear and strengthens public trust. Second, because we contract with Berkeley's police department for the use of their holding cells, we should coordinate to ensure individuals detained in Lathrup Village are treated according to our guidelines while being held there. Third, formalize a requirement that any 287G agreement be approved by our formal act of council subject to public comment. Residents should know that such decisions cannot occur administratively or without transparency. These are my ideas. Take them or leave them, but please articulate your own and do something. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close public comment. We'll open up mayor and council comments. Jonathan, I'm disappointed in having to cancel chipping services as well. But unfortunately, the reality, as you mentioned, is the heavy override was defeated, and unfortunately, we've got at least $300,000 that we have to figure out to get rid of the budget, and there are very few places that we can do that, as we've had discussions about the library and not hiring another police officer in chipping services. So unfortunately, there's some hard decisions that have to be made, and as somebody who has a lot of trees on my property, I'm not happy about it, but we're kind of backed into a corner. I do want to express condolences to the Kopis family. I think many of you have heard that former council person Bruce Kopis, and he was also a former planning commissioner, passed away a little over a week ago. So I want to offer condolences to his family. Also wanted to mention that there is a fraud seminar held by the Lathrup Village Police Department and Chase Bank on April 29th at 10 a.m. At City Hall. There's also another event that I didn't mention earlier because it really wasn't part of the Parks and Rec, but I was asked to mention that the Lathrup Village Music Festival is having a halfway to the music event at Dog and Pony on March 13th at 7 p.m. With live music from 7 to 9 p.m. by Billy Brandt and Elaine, can't read my own writing, Schoendorf. It's open to all residents and volunteers. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for right now.
I'll go real quick. Jonathan, I was going to say thank you for the comment on the update for technology. I do think we need to update our technology but I also know it takes time. So I thank you for pointing out the transcription. I'm wondering, is that something we can talk to the media team about?
It's part of the YouTube program, so you just have to watch the video on YouTube and it should be
Okay, so, okay. That's all I have.
So I have a couple of things that we need to be aware of, and I shared it with the tree committee, is that the MML is asking for local support. You have House Bill 5529 through 5532, and that's a bill that would significantly restrict local authority by preempting local decision-making on key zoning issues, including duplexes, ADUs, which is accessory dwelling units, minimum setbacks, lot sizes, and dwelling unit sizes. The way that I interpret it, it means that anything that, kind of like what we did today, it would be the state that would say what we can and cannot do. And so that is basically taking away local authority and taking away also the way that we want our city to look, for the most part. So if you can go to, I don't have anything to give you, but the MML, you go there, and it will be under, again, the House Bills 5529 through 5532, and you can add your name to this letter of opposition, and yeah.
I believe there's something tomorrow with SEMCOG.
I was just about to say.
There is, it's tomorrow morning with
Can
SOCRRA.
anybody attend? I was gonna say, can anyone take my place? 'Cause
I think that
I have
any
a
of the-
meeting that came up.
I think any resident can actually go, because that means that they're a member of SEMCOG also.
Okay.
I just don't, if you could look up and tell me what the time is, I think
It's
it's at 10 or 11.
the arrival is 10 a.m. Press conference will begin at 10:30. The location is 1001 Woodward Avenue, Suite 1400, Detroit, Michigan 48226. Parking is 1 State Street, Detroit, Michigan 48226.
And they'll validate your parking.
Yes.
And the reason I brought it up is because it's just, again, reiterating what we talked about tonight would not even be an option for us regarding the zoning, because it would be under state control. So we can go to MML.
Jim, what was the time on that?
10 a.m. arrival, 10 a.m. The press conference starts at 10:30
Nice.
a.m. I'll forward it to you.
And then also congratulations to you, Tim, for becoming the chair of the Planning Commission. And condolences to the Copus family.
Yeah, I also want to send my condolences to the Copus family. Bruce and I were on Planning Commission together for about a year and a half, and had many conversations about things happening in the city. He gave me rides places around the city. I mean, we had a lot of conversations both on the Planning Commission and personally. And even though we disagreed on some of the outcomes of some of the votes that we voted on together on the Planning Commission, he was always respectful and kind, and I appreciated his expertise and his commitment to service to our community.
Yeah, I've got a few things. I'll start with that, though, and give my own condolences to the Copus family. I only got to know Bruce in the past year, but he was instrumental in both motivating my interest in city council and city government, and also encouraging me to run. And he was a great resource, and like you said, a really decent guy, and I'm glad I got to know him. The MML thing, it sounds, I just want to reiterate everything Kelly said. The people in this room, the people in the community, they can disagree about what should and shouldn't happen here in terms of zoning, in terms of all of, the different housing potential, options that the city might consider or have. But we're doing it as a community. If these bills pass, it'll no longer be community decision, it'll be a state decision, and you'll have to go to Lansing if you want to have your public discourse time. So if there's anything you can do, reach out to your reps, sign these petitions, etc. The people in this room obviously care about what happens in this community, and this is an opportunity to make sure that your voice will still be heard. Chipping, hats off to Kelly for voting no. I thought about it a long time. I don't feel, and this is my own personal decision, that I can distance myself from a hard decision like that, even though I do believe that with a number of the things we discussed tonight, that one of the good things about the discussion is that we're putting the city in a place to have further discussions about these things. I think we're going to look at chipping options. I think we're going to look at other options that we can have. I think when it comes to parking, the thing that came up to me, I don't believe this business will have an impact on the parking thing. There's 100 spots. I don't think it's going to increase traffic in a way, but it did bring up safety as a concern when we look at parking and these cuts, which has come up more than once. Jonathan's brought it up, and that needs to be part of what we're looking at in the zoning and those things. So these votes are the votes tonight, and they have to do with very specific situations, but I really do appreciate the fact that they're also surfacing or resurfacing or emphasizing bigger, broader discussions that we have to have as a group and as a community. And the last thing I'll say is just to reiterate that the Communications and Engagement Committee was created for a reason, and it wasn't for the people here who are actually pretty well communicated with and are definitely engaged. But when you go to things like the Planning Commission meeting where housing was announced as a topic of discussion for public input, and I don't like the process, I've just found the record, I don't like that process, but it was a process. 10 to 12 people participated. You can't be upset when the things don't go your way if you don't show up. And so somebody suggested that all the members of the Communications Committee go out and tell 10 friends. They will. But everybody in here also needs to tell 10 friends. And we need to start having so many people here that we have to have the meetings downstairs. So that's my little soapbox. Appreciate the time.
Thanks. One other thing that I failed to mention. We do have an opening for a planning commissioner, so we've got one opening. The applications for that are due by March 11th, so if you want to help work on our businesses and our ordinances, please submit an application to the City Hall. We'd love to have you. We need to get some applicants for that. So, anything else from anyone? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Motion seconded. Have a good night, everyone.